everybody. It's Natalie. Hi. It's been a hot minute since I last saw you. And last time I saw you, I was sitting in front of my makeup mirror with my messy room in the background so that I could have good lighting. But now, for Christmas, I got some bougie equipment. So here we are. I got this very nice mic. It's very nice. It's a Blue Yeti Snowball.
Wow.
And then I got this ring light stand. I got a bunch of other stuff for my cosplay. I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling like a validated creator right now. And so I thought we'd come back and we would film a new video, new type of video, kind of. It's another book video. I know I keep saying this channel is not a booktube channel, but all I have done is film things about books. A little contradiction, but I swear there's gonna be some other things coming to this channel. Just haven't had the opportunity because this year has kicked my ass. 2019 is almost over and good fucking riddance. I'm gonna call this Let's Jump on the Nostalgia Train, and I want to look back at things that I really enjoyed and really liked as a child and look at it with my adult brain and see if I still like it, and, you know, kind of the same gist as I hate this book changed my mind, but with things from my childhood that I enjoyed. So we're going to be talking about a book that I read when I was in middle school, and I read it a little bit after a bunch of the hype because, like everything in my life, I am the one that's on the back of the hype train, just like holding on with the tips of my fingers and like just trying really hard to be involved in it. Everyone's jumping off the train, I'm holding on for dear life. That's the definition of my life. So, believe it or not, this book was required reading. I read it in my reading class, and how my school worked, a little PSA. How my school worked, we had a English class and a reading class. Your guess of why is as good as mine. And I can only imagine that you're thinking, oh, so in the reading class you learn like reading strategies and how to like take notes when you're reading and like do that little, what's that fucking thing where they made us put like sticky notes and then write things about what we thought about each thing. But no, it was just like the English class, except we didn't write essays. So in the English class, we read things and wrote essays about it, and in the reading class, we read things and talked about it. My middle school was really weird. Anyways, the required reading in my reading class had great classics, you know, like The Outsiders, which is awesome, and then Tangerine, which I guess everyone else likes. I remember hating that. And also, Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief. I'm not fucking lying. We read this as required reading, which was pretty fucking awesome. I enjoyed it a lot. I never read any of the other books, even though I wanted to. I just never got around to it. So if I do the rest of them, I will do normal reviews for them. But this one I did read in my childhood and I really enjoyed it. So I thought we would read it again and do my little reading vlog things, which I don't know if anyone actually likes those. Your feedback would be appreciated. But we'll do that. We'll read through this. And it's been since middle school, since I was 13. I'm 21 now, so I remember the key events. And and that's also because I watched the movie. Son of Poseidon.
Like high school without sleeping in water.
I used to date your daddy.
Like high school without the musical.
Hey, I don't know. I just like being water.
Come on, Percy! I got 50 drachma on you!
Pen.
I haven't had a Seder.
Which, you know, God bless Hollywood for giving us that shit. So I do remember the key events. So, because I've seen the movie multiple times and I've read the book once. I remember the key events, but I don't remember all the nuances and little things, and I think it'll be really interesting to read it again and, yeah, see. So, I hope you guys enjoy, and here we go. Let's get into it. Hopefully I don't come out of this hating it for some reason. For some reason, I feel like I haven't seen a table of contents in like a novel in like 17 million years. Like, I'm just staring at this in complete shock. Look, I didn't want to be a half-blood. If you're reading this because you think you might be one, my advice is close this book right now. Wait, so you're saying that I can be a half-blood too? If you're a kid reading this and you think this is fiction, great, read on. I envy you for being able to believe that none of this ever happened. Oh, so we're taking that route. We're taking, like, full-on immersion route. Okay. I'm kind of into it. See, bad things happen on field trips. Like at my 5th grade school, when we went to Saratoga Battlefield, I had this accident with the Revolutionary War cannon. I wasn't aiming for the school bus, but I got expelled anyway. No, Percy, you can't just stop. You would have to explain the entire fucking situation. You can't just, like, say that and then just, like, and then before that, like, and just move on, like, did you hurt anybody? How did you get a cannon to work? Okay. He also dunked his entire class into a shark tank by accidentally hitting the wrong lever. How? Like, why in God's name would you even be pulling levers when you're walking over a shark tank? Percy sort of reminds me of one of my cousins, well, a couple of my cousins. Some of my cousins are a little absent-minded, to say the least. One of my cousins, he went on a French trip because he was in a French class, he was learning French, so they went to France. And he kept, like, getting off the bus at the wrong times, and he would get lost in France. Like, I'm not even fucking kidding. But my cousin just, he gives no shits. He's just like, oh, whatever. But obviously you can't have that on a school trip. So they just, like, they put a fucking cowbell around his neck so they would know whenever he'd go anywhere. Except Percy's, like, 12 and my cousin was, like, 16. Yeah. Okay, I gotta say, they build up, like, the lightning bolt being stolen so well. They're talking about all these storms, these freak lightning strikes that are causing fires, and how the weather's been crazy. Like, they really just build this shit up really well, and it just really makes me think of in the movie where they just kind of play it like, your son stole my lightning bolt, Poseidon. Really, what's your proof? I don't know, he just did it. He stole the lightning bolt, it was your son. Really, you should think about this. No, your son did it, and I will not accept anything but the lightning bolt back. Whoosh. I really, like, feel for Percy, because he's just obviously this tween who's, like, really hurting and just really trying to find his place. And I love how they play on this, like, thing where Mr. Brunner and Grover have to, like, keep everything a secret, but he thinks, like, they are giving up on him and they don't believe in him anymore. And I think it's, like, it's really interesting. And it just makes me want to give Percy a hug. Just like, he just wants someone to believe in him, and it seems like nobody does. And it's just so heartbreaking. Sally Jackson is so fucking sweet. What the fuck? I didn't remember this. She's just so kind and sweet and wonderful. And I've only read like a couple paragraphs of her, but damn. See, Gabe had once told my mom that there is no such thing as blue food. They had this fight, which seemed like a really small thing at the time, but ever since, my mom went out of her way to eat blue. She baked blue birthday cakes, she mixed blueberry smoothies, she bought blue corn tortilla chips, and brought home blue candy from the shop. This, along with keeping her maiden name Jackson rather than calling herself Miss Ugliano, was proof that she wasn't totally suckered by Gabe and had a rebellious streak like me. Get 'em, Sally. Get 'em. Okay. Percy's fight, like, in front of Camp Half-Blood, that was so fucking badass. My heart was, like, beating so fast reading that chapter of Sally and Grover and him driving towards there. And, the visuals are just so well done with, like, the rain and the thunder and then the, I forgot what he's called, the bowl man, like, stomping towards them. Just, like, holy shit. And then, like, the visual of when Sally gets, like, disintegrated, is from Percy's words. It's just like, what the fuck? See, I didn't remember, like, all the little details about this battle, but, like, and then, like, Percy, like, rips the horn off. uses it and shanks the motherfucker. Like, oh my god. That's so awesome. The rain had stopped. The storm still rumbled, but only in the distance. I smelled like livestock and my knees were shaking. My head felt like it was splitting open. I was weak and scared and trembling with grief. I had just seen my mother vanish. I wanted to lie down and cry, but there was Grover needing my help, so I managed to haul him up. Like, Percy's so courageous and he cares so much about the people in his life and he doesn't take anything for granted. Like, I love that. Like, oh my god. Annabeth glanced at the Minotaur horn in my hands, then back at me. I imagined she was gonna say, "You killed a Minotaur?" or "Wow, you're so awesome," or something like that. Instead, she said, "You drool when you sleep." I feel like this is the beginning of a wonderful friendship. Okay, this explanation for why the gods are in America, the heart of the West, and the gods move with the heart, and that's why the gods were in Rome at one point, and then Europe, and now they're in America.
What? What the fuck?
Okay, I'm actually, like, really annoyed, because he keeps asking, like, what is Camp Half-Blood? Why am I the fuck? Where the fuck am I? What am I here? And they will not fucking answer him. Chiron, just... You're explaining all this shit like the heart of the West and why the gods are here and they're in America and everything, but you won't fucking explain what the camp is that he is currently going to start living in. Just... And now he's talking about throwing him into Capture the Flag with all the other campers without even telling him what the camp is for. Chiron's literally got this poor boy thinking that each of the cabins have, like, mascots, when if he would have just fucking explained this to him beforehand, we wouldn't be in this situation. He would go in here having have already had time to process everything and, like, and would not be so shook. But Chiron is just like, I'm just gonna bring you around and then I'll explain everything later. Or someone else is gonna drop it on him that he must be a half-blood, and then he's gonna lose his fucking mind, because who the fuck would see that coming as a normal person, as a normal 12-year-old boy? I do love this part where they're walking by the cabins, and Percy sees the Poseidon cabin, and he's kind of, like, drawn to it, you know? He, like, walks up to it, he kind of looks into it. He doesn't say he's drawn to it, but, like, by his actions, they show you, because it's a good book, and they don't have to tell you things, they can show it to you. But, and he, like, opens it, and Chiron's like, oh, don't do that, but he does it, and he, like, kind of smells it, and he smells, like, the beach, and he, like, loves the smell of it. They kind of, like, they foreshadow who his father is a little bit, and I like that. It's very subtle and well done. Now they're here in Cabin 11, and they're all just, like, dancing around the subject. Like, were they instructed to not tell Percy? They're like, Hermes is our patron. Luke, if I remember correctly, Hermes is your father. Like, he wouldn't, unless he was instructed specifically to not tell him, he wouldn't speak like that. That's not how people fucking speak, especially teenagers. They're purposely misleading him. Of course, Annabeth is gonna explain it to him, who his father is, because, you know, fucking adults in this situation, for some reason, can't do that. They're gonna throw it on a fucking 12-year-old girl to do it. She's just... He's like, she goes, that depends on your parent is, what cabin you're gonna be in, and he's like, oh, my mom's Sally. It's like, he obviously doesn't know anything, and they're treating him like he's a fucking idiot. Like, just, and Chiron really left a 13-year-old girl to explain such a delicate piece of information to Percy that could cause him to have an existential crisis. And he's just like everything that Percy knows about the world is not the same. And you're gonna leave a 13-year-old girl, I mean, I know Annabeth is very intelligent and wonderful, but you're gonna leave a 13-year-old girl to explain this to him? Logic. And just what I thought would happen, happened. She just kind of drops it. She's like, well, you're a half-blood, Percy. Like, he knows what the fuck that means. The toilet scene with Clarice, just... I love it. I love it so much. That's one of the scenes that I remember, like, so clearly from when I read it when I was in 7th grade. Like, just wonderful. I love when the underdog characters kick ass. Like, yes. Okay, excuse the wet hair. I just took a shower, but I read more. Something I find that Rick Riordan does really well is like foreshadowing. Just like J.K. Rowling, they both are really good at like just sprinkling things in there, so you don't even think about it. But since I already know the ending, I know who stole the lightning bolt and everything already because I've read it before. Luke is showing signs really early on in the story of someone who has issues with power and who really wants to impress people constantly. And Percy also senses something's not right with him, but he doesn't really say that. He says it in a roundabout way. Like when he's sitting in cabin 11 with Luke, Luke takes out the knife to like take mud out of his shoe. But Percy says for a second he thought he was going to gut him. But he just started like, fucking with his sandal. He kind of has this way about him. He like is like the camp counselor. He's like the guy who helps all the beginners who are undetermined and all that stuff. He like likes being seen as their mentor, kind of. He likes that attention. When he teaches sword fighting, you see it. He like says, "Oh, I'm gonna go with Percy because you're new," and you think, "Oh, so he's gonna teach him slowly." No, he like goes hard on Percy, just really nailing it in that Percy doesn't know what he's doing because that gives him an ego trip. And then afterwards, he's like, "Everyone gather around. I'm gonna demonstrate something on Percy," looking for that validation. After Percy dumps the water on himself and he suddenly like has a clear mind and he like starts to like stop Luke's maneuver, Luke gets kind of upset, but very like shielded upset. Like his eyes squint and he starts like pushing harder is how it's described. And afterwards, after Percy disarms him, he's kind of hesitant before he like says, "Oh wow, how'd you do that, Percy?" Obviously didn't like it too much that Percy was able to disarm him in front of everybody. But like Luke is showing signs, and I know he steals the lightning bolt to try and like get attention from his father, and he's showing those signs really early in the story. It's really masterfully done. I think it's funny that Zeus is like so pissy about Poseidon having Percy as a son, but he also broke the promise and had Talia after, World War II, so like, which way it gonna be, Zeus? You can't have it both ways. Just Zeus things, getting pissy about people doing the same things that I do. By the window, sitting on a wooden tripod, stood the most gruesome memento of all, a mummy. Not the one wrapped in cloth, but a human female body shriveled to a husk. She wore a tie-dyed sundress, lots of beaded necklaces, and a headband over her long black hair. The skin of her face was thin and leathery over her skull, and her eyes were glassy white slits, as if her real eyes had been replaced by marbles. She had been dead a long, long time. The Oracle. Grover was so excited to get the flying shoes. That's so cute. He's like, "Hey Grover, you want a magic item?" His eyes lit up. "Me?" Pretty soon we'd laced up the sneakers over his fake feet, and the world's first flying goat boy was ready for launch. I love it. The truth was, I didn't care about retrieving Zeus's lightning bolt, or saving the world, or even helping my father out of trouble. The more I thought about it, I resented Poseidon for never visiting me, never helping my mom, never even sending a lousy child support check. He'd only claimed me because he needed a job done. I don't know why, but thinking about Greek gods like signing a child support check is just really funny. Oops, sorry I impregnated you with a half-god child that will be hunted down by every demon monster in the world. Here's $100 a month to make you feel better. Bruh. Percy packs up Medusa's head and sends it to the fucking gods. The balls. He's like, "Hey dad, this is your old girlfriend, by the way. I killed her. Thanks for using me, dad." I mean, we might as well call him Petty Jackson. Grover's like, "Oh no, Percy. You sent that head to Olympus so that you could prove it to your dad, so you could get some attention from him. And that is the exact reason that Luke stole the bolts." Rick Riordan is literally like leaving the breadcrumbs. So when you find out that it was Luke, it all just suddenly makes sense. This bitch is wearing a denim floppy hat with a denim dress.
Disgusting!
Percy describes her as a blue jean blimp. Fucking Aries like just rocks up and like buys the gang some food, and then he literally hands the human waitress drachma and is just like, bitch, you better take it. It basically fucking threatens her. So, but like the description of Aries was so like vivid. It's like this biker dude, and he takes off his glasses, and it's just like flames and like nuclear explosions in his eye sockets. Like, that would be fucking terrifying, okay? I guess it's just Percy's luck that no one can ever answer a question straight. Like, the river spirit, she's like, step on these pearls if you need help. And he's like, what will happen? She goes, depends on what you need. She's like, beware of the gifts. And he's like, what gifts? And she's like, bye, Percy. It's like, bitch. Okay, I must admit, the waterbed stretching incident was some of the weirdest shit that I have ever read in my life, okay? Like, I felt like I was in, like, some type of weird-ass kink tag on Tumblr. Okay, I am a little confused, because if I thought, like, at Medusa's, place, they got the address to the underworld there, and then we go to the stretching scene, and they don't know where the underworld is, and they get the address again from his office. Am I wrong? Am I wrong? I really thought that they got the address already from Medusa. Maybe they lost it? We are heading into the underworld. As Percy says, let's whoop some underworld butt. And I'm excited to see how this is, because I don't really remember it. I only remember the movie scene, which is just absolutely horrendous. Cringiest thing ever put on the screen is the underworld scene in the movie. So I'm interested to see how it is in this. I don't know why, but I have a vague memory of not liking this scene and being disappointed by it. I don't know why. It could be a stupid 12-year-old, or I was 13 or 14 when I read this, but 13-year-old shit. I just have this vague memory that I was disappointed by the scene. I don't know why. Okay, I'm not disappointed with the portrayal of Hades. He's overworked and just tired of his brother's bullshit. He kind of reminds me like a more aggressive version of Hades and Lore Olympus. Except, you know, Hades and Lore Olympus is not as, like, angry and aggressive as this. He's more passive. But he's like, bitch, you think I wanted a war? I already have too many dead people here. I got taxes to pay, bitch. I don't need this shit. I cannot wait till we see Persephone. One of my it's my favorite love story in Greek mythology is those two. I was speechless. I had no helm. I had no idea how the Master Bolt had gotten into my backpack. I wanted to think Hades was pulling some kind of trick. Hades was the bad guy, but suddenly the world turned sideways. I realized I'd been played with. Zeus, Poseidon, and Hades had been set on each other's throats by someone else. The Master Bolt had been in my backpack, and I'd gotten the backpack from... I love this shit. Dude, I love this shit. Oh my god. Aries. Let me tell you. When the water spirit was like, trust none of the gifts, I was like, yeah, of course, don't trust Luke's. But then I was like, Aries' gift too. He leaves the Lotus Casino, and the backpack just magically reappeared. Even though he thought he threw it away. God of War, bitch. He wants the war. He wants the war. Hello? I guess we'll read and see if I'm right. The smug look on Hades' face faded. He said, Godling? I'll find your helm, uncle, I told him. I'll return it. Remember Charon's pay raise. Do not defy me. And it wouldn't hurt to play with Cerberus once in a while. He likes red rubber balls. Percy Jackson, you will not, I shouted. Now, guys! We smashed the pearls at our feet, and for a scary moment, nothing happened. And of course they get, like, you know, the pearls transport them out of the underworld, but Hades is like a scolding father. My dog is, like, really wanting me to play with her. Hades is like a scolding father. Percy Jackson, you will not!
It's like high school without the musical.
So Ares didn't directly cause it, but he got involved when he was sent to catch the person who stole the bolt, and then he decided, hey, I like war. It's so interesting. I didn't remember this part, so that's nice. Oh, Percy is straight up fighting Ares. I'm ready for it. Okay, let's go. Let's go. Give it to him, Percy. Give it to that old guy. Okay, so Percy was able to get a hit on Ares, but Ares, like, that presence just came over the beach and turned the water cold, and Ares is just like, shit, and like deuces and leaves. Was that Zeus? Because I know Zeus is Ares' daddy. I mean, maybe it was Poseidon, because the water got cold. Maybe it was Poseidon threatening him like, yo, don't you touch my son. Oh. What stopped Ares from killing Percy was Kronos. Because Percy and Ares are both seeing Kronos in their dreams. Also, I really enjoy the dynamic between Percy and Poseidon so far. And, well, you know, Percy's in Olympus. Like, you know, Poseidon's kind of unsure of him, and Percy's kind of unsure of him. Because that's realistic, you know? They wouldn't automatically, like, understand each other. I mean, Percy only has, like, a faint memory of him smiling at him. That's the only thing he remembers. They don't know each other, you know? And I'm hoping, because I'm definitely going to read the other books, I'm hoping that maybe some type of relationship will form. Zeus. He acts just like Zeus in every other interpretation, you know? Just a jackass. He's like, well, because you helped me, I'm not gonna kill you. If you get in an airplane and come into my domain, I'm gonna fucking kill you. It's like, but why? Not Percy's fucking fault that Poseidon couldn't keep it in his pants. Poseidon is like over here like, your mother is a queen among women. I had not met such a mortal woman in 1,000 years. Still, I'm sorry you were born, child. I have brought you a hero's fate. A hero's fate is never happy. It is never anything but tragic. Percy's over there like, thanks, Dad. Ouch, that fucking stings. Okay. Y'all, I ripped my pinky toenail in half while reading. When I stood up, I got caught in something, and it's bleeding everywhere, and it hurts like a bitch on the stick, and I am in so much pain right now. I don't remember this at all, but I feel like something's about to happen. I know, the movie literally spoils that Luke is the traitor in the first fucking movie. And maybe they're about to tell us at the end of the book, and like the end of this chapter, I don't know, but Percy rocks up to the training grounds, and Luke is like aggressively going at it. And then Luke's like, well, you know, I was looking for you. Why don't we go down into the woods and have one last go at the monsters there? And I'm like, Percy, no! Stranger danger! I was used to hearing from the girls how good looking Luke was, but at the moment, he looked weary and angry and not at all handsome. His blonde hair was gray. In the sunlight, the scar on his face looked deeper than usual, and I could imagine him as an old man. The heck with Laurel Reeves, Luke said. I'm not going to end up like those dusty trophies in the big house attic. You make it sound like you're leaving. Luke gave me a twisted smile. Oh, I'm leaving all right, Percy. I brought you down here to say goodbye. Ah! He snapped his fingers. I haven't read this part yet. He snapped his fingers. A small fire burned a hole in the ground at my feet. He crawled something glistening. Out crawled something glistening black, about the size of my hand, a scorpion. I started to go for my pen. I wouldn't, Luke cautioned. Pit scorpions can jump up 15 feet. Its stinger can pierce right through your clothes. You'll be dead in 60 seconds. Luke, what? Then it hit me. You will be betrayed by one who calls you friend, the prophecy. You, I said. He stood calmly and brushed off his jeans. The scorpion paid him no attention. It kept its beady black eyes on me, clamping its pincers. It crawled onto my shoe. I saw a lot out there in the world, Percy, Luke said. Didn't you feel it? The darkness gathering, the monsters growing stronger. Didn't you realize how useless it all is? All the heroics being pawns of the gods. They should have been overthrown thousands of years ago, and they've hung on thanks to us half-bloods. Ah! This is like so badass. This is so badass. It done. Hi everybody! So it's on the flip side, I have finished Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief. I'm going to remind that I did read Percy Jackson and Lightning Thief beforehand. I haven't read it in 8 years. So some things I didn't remember correctly, so which is great because the ending I didn't remember like 100%, so that was a whole ass experience. And I had a lot of fun with it if you saw it through the vlog. But yeah, so here's some like final thoughts on Percy Jackson and kind of a review. I mean, there's no doubt that it's good. Like, Percy Jackson and Lightning Thief is great. It's a great book. I think it's a really good family book. Like, you could be any age and you could read that and you could get something out of it, you know? You don't have to be like 12 like Percy is when you read it to really get something out of it. It's like Harry Potter in that sense. I feel like it's one of those stories that everyone can find something to really enjoy about it and everyone can kind of relate. Because I saw a lot of myself in Percy from when I was his age, and it was kind of refreshing to kind of read a character who was a little bit more immature. He was very innocent in the sense, and it was like, you get to witness those moments of like childlike wonder come from him, you know? Like when his mom is like, we're gonna go to Montauk Beach, and he's just like so excited about that, and it's like, I wish I could be that excited about it, but now if anyone said, we're going to Montauk Beach, I'd be like, okay, how much does it cost? Can we afford it? Are we flying? Are we driving? Gas cost? Flight cost? I'm gonna die on the airplane. But reading this, I got to just kind of like dissociate from that and just be a child for a little bit for the day and a half that it took me to read it. But I really did enjoy my experience reading it. I think it's really well written too, and I talk about this throughout the vlogs. But just to reiterate and kind of hopefully get my ADHD brain a little bit more pinpointed, you know, a little bit more focused. I really like the way Rick Riordan writes because, you know, the story is from Percy's voice, which is not something I've read in a long time. It's Percy narrating to somebody else, this is what happened. So he narrates it and he writes as a 12-year-old boy really well. As I said, he really captures like how a 12-year-old thinks about things. It's good in a good way. It's not just like Percy, he also captures how all the other young characters think about things, like Annabeth and the way she feels about her father and her stepmother and her step-siblings. Her stepmother kind of discriminates against her. She would like, you know, quarantine her from her step-siblings. She wouldn't let her be around her step-siblings. And they show Annabeth kind of overcoming that and coming to terms with it and trying again. I guess we'll see in the next book if that works out. I don't know if that works out or not. I also like that we see Grover work through his anxiety and his fears and do what he can to do what's right and to help his best friend. And same with Percy. Percy's so scared sometimes, but he works right through it. And Percy's voice throughout the story, like reading his voice, he's so endearing and charming and funny. At one point he calls Miss Dodds like an old sot. He goes, I don't know what it means, but it sounded right in the moment, which I thought was just like so adorable. I think I annotated it like so freaking cute. And also at one point he was dealing candy out of his dorm room to other kids at the boarding school, which I thought was really funny. I also really like how the gods are characterized. It's modern, but also still pretty accurate, you know, to the mythology or like some mythology, because for those who don't know, Greek mythology has been rewritten a million times. A ton of different interpretations of the Greek gods. Rick Riordan really picked the ones that he liked and he modernized them in a way that made sense, that was interesting, still stuck to the core of the source material. And also I really like how the half-bloods, the demigods are, and how all of that's explained. It's very well done. Another thing I really loved was the mystery of the lightning bolt. The mystery is built upon, you know, it's really interesting to see, and how you don't really even know about the lightning bolt being stolen until like a little bit into the book, and that was really interesting to see. And then also the train of thought of Percy of trying to like work through this as a 12-year-old and figure out this giant complex mess of his father and his uncles, like, you know, obviously the family drama. Try and solve these adults' problems as a 12-year-old. The reveal of Luke as the demigod who did it is really fucking awesome in the book, the way they do it. I was like, oh god, the scorpion, oh, what's gonna happen? Like, I was like feeling it. It was a little simple, the book was. I did find that was a little simple, but that's because I guess the character is 12 and you're hearing it from his voice and his eyes and his memory. So I did find it a little simple, but I'm feeling that it's gonna be like Harry Potter, where it becomes more intricate and more intense as the books go on and as the characters grow. So I'm going to continue and do the rest of the series for sure. But I'm gonna do those as like first time reading because I've never read the rest of the series. I've only read the first book. So I'm gonna have more of like maybe live reactions of me reading stuff for the first time, which I think would be kind of cool. So look forward to that. So thank you for sticking through and watching this video. Thank you. Drop a like, drop a comment. It really helps out the algorithm if you do that. And if you are ever so inclined, please subscribe. There'll be some more shenanigans coming, more book videos, more movie stuff, because I love movies, and some other, maybe some cosplay shenanigans too. So if you enjoyed, by all means, subscribe. And thank you all for being here, and I will catch you next time. Bye!